I'm a mother of 2 boys, and I'm a motivational speaker and a transformational life coach,
Yes.
an upcoming author,
Yeah.
and a founder and CEO of Angelique Achievers, which is an organization that transforms and fixes people's lives,
Yes.
like mine was fixed.
Like yours was fixed.
Yes.
And I have to say, I was trying to classify your story.
Yeah.
Is it from grass to grace to grass to grace again? Or, you know, because I know you have had it all.
I think from where we will start, it is a story of grace to grass and graciousness now, growing all the way.
Amina,
Yeah.
Amina, please take us through your story.
Yeah, I was a mother of 1, and this boy, I had him when I was in college. I went to college when I was already working.
Yes.
But in my first year, I met someone who we fell in love, but it was a relationship that couldn't lead into marriage, you know, one of those funny relationships, you know. Yeah, I admit that I was a jumpy girl, party girl, and I wasn't making good choices in life. And then after I had this baby, I decided to just take care of him and tone down on some of these things.
Yes.
I had a construction company
Yes.
that was doing a little bit well. I had risen from doing finishing, just getting some subcontracts,
Yes.
to now building and getting main contracts in the construction field.
Okay.
So I was building and I was making good money.
Yeah.
I had bought a car. I was living in a big house.
Hey.
And taking care of my family, my parents. They never lacked anything when
Yes.
I was doing all that. So it reached a point where now I felt that the only missing thing was a father to my baby and a husband.
Yeah, my hubby.
And love, you know.
Yeah.
So I had a friend who was a counselor. We didn't do it the official way,
Yeah.
but he was taking me through some counseling sessions, just talking and encouraging me and telling me where I did wrong here and there. And he introduced me to another person who is a Ghanaian. And having gone to Ghana, I knew that I had received a very a good treatment there. I had become friends with these people. So I had the perception of Ghanaians are good people, they treat people well. And it's true, there are so many good people who are in Ghana. And so I fell in love with this guy now that I was introduced to.
Yeah.
You know, a friend of a friend.
Yes.
So I thought that this guy is going to be good. And he blew me off my feet.
What was
from
it
day
about
one.
him from day one that you are like, hapa nimeangukia?
I think it was more of what I wanted to hear. It was more of what I wanted to hear, not even what I wanted to see. Because I wouldn't say he looks like my kind of a guy when I structural.
But you know, you start seeing looks after. He might not look nice, but after he starts
felt
treating
nice.
you right,
Yes.
now you start to see, okay, anaweza.
Yeah. He felt nice. I felt at home with him. He was very loving in terms of what he's saying. And we hit the road of love now. And within 2 months, this man had moved into my house. Yes. Now, taking you back, our first date.
Please take me back.
Our first date, we went out for dinner. We had dinner and I paid.
You paid.
Yeah, you know, when the bill comes and he doesn't want to look at it and you feel like, let me be.
Okay, I have no problem with a woman paying for dinner for the first date. But did you go in the date, you know, assuming he would take care of the bill? Or were you guys even thinking of 50-50?
He told me, I want to take you out so that we can talk.
Yeah.
So we went, we talked, we had dinner and I paid. So after dropping him where he was staying, I gave him some money. Yeah, in my car. I gave him some money. So
hii story kwenye inaenda. So you paid, okay, first wait. You've paid for dinner.
Yeah.
You are giving him your money. You are dropping him to his place.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, dropping where he was staying with his footballers. They
Yes.
were about 5 men, because I wouldn't call them boys because
Yes.
they are men, they are grown men. So he was staying with other 5 men. And reaching there, because he was their manager, they wanted food. And I could see he doesn't have money to give them for food. So I told them, let me treat you guys. So I gave him some money. I gave him 5,000 shillings. So after that, I think he saw kind of a cash cow, kind of. So now love grew even much bigger. And he started coming to my house. He would sleep over. I would maybe let him sleep on the couch. And of course, at night he would sneak into my bedroom because I'm protecting
Yes.
my son. And much later, now he started now staying. So we started living together, and shortly after a few months, we couldn't pay rent in the other house where the footballers were staying. So they moved into my house.
The footballers?
Yes. So I was living with him and 4 other footballers. 4 footballers.
Yes.
So I actually bought an extra bed for them, a double decker. So because I had another room, spare room.
Yeah.
I even had to do away with my house girl, and yeah. So they became now like they are my house girl. They were washing, they were taking care of my son, dropping him in, I would drop him to school, or they would just walk him to school because the school wasn't far. And life continued, and I was like I'm the one providing everything. And we started now looking for a baby. I got pregnant, and within 2 months I had a miscarriage. I think because I had taken long without having another child and without being very sexually active. So I lost that pregnancy.
Sorry.
And he was broken. I could see he was kind of broken. He cried and was telling me that I've done something to myself. I didn't want to have this child, but I was innocent in all that. So we started looking for another one. And after another 2 months, I got pregnant. And we started now, you know, because of the pregnancy, I slowed down on my work. The construction, you know, you have to go visit sites and even look for new sites. And the project that I was handling at that time got finished. So I didn't look for another one at that time. So I slowed down. So money wasn't coming in. I was the only source of money. He would sometimes go out and come back with money and tell me that some footballers from Kenyan clubs have signed with him for him to help them go out in maybe like in other like European countries. And so he would come home with money, and I would feel nice, at least he's trying. Much later I came to realize that actually all this money that was coming to the house was from other women. He was cheating, he was lying to women that he's single, that he wants to marry them, that he's going through stuff, and he's selling his car, and he will pay them back. Sometimes because of love, they just give him money. And he has a very sweet mouth.
Yeah.
So because of this promiscuity, I started getting tired, and I had already gotten broke. And I didn't know now, what else can I sacrifice? And what am I sacrificing for? I'm already pregnant. I'm already losing everything.
So you started seeing signs of him being promiscuous
Yeah.
when you were pregnant?
Women would even call me,
Hey.
search for me on Facebook and call me, or just message me. Every single time he would apologize, kneel down and cry sometimes.
And I know the worst part is that your son was so used to
Yeah.
him, you know?
Yeah.
So you kind of want him to stick around because your son needs a father figure.
Exactly, yeah. My son loved him. My son adored the fact that he was a father to him. And he had taken control very well over my son, because he would encourage him, even study with him, take him to church. you know, be a father, be a man, an example of a man. Now, except for what he was doing behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So now when he was talking about going, I told him, I suggested that I sell the car. I'm the one who suggested that I sell my car so that we pay rent arrears that we had. I had swept everything in my account completely, to an extent that now we were not even paying rent. We were having rent arrears. So I suggested I sell the car, I buy him a ticket, and the rest we just used to buy some stuff here and there. You know, selling a second-hand car,
it doesn't have much profit. Yeah.
And it wasn't a big car. So I did all that. He got tickets and he left. Now when he left, I was left with the footballers. He first went. So when I was left with the footballers, now for him it was like, now he's there and the footballers are on their own. So they had to manage themselves whichever way. So now they started doing what he also does, like going out with women, coming home with shopping and
conning people.
Yeah. And I was pregnant, my pregnancy grew, and we even moved to a small house, a 2-bedroom house. They took 1 bedroom. I took 1 bedroom with my son. And he would send little money here and there, 10,000 every month. I wouldn't manage a house help. So I continued. I remember when I was giving birth, I told him that I'm going to the hospital in a week's time, and he lied to me that he has deposited 200,000 to my account. I went to the bank, there was nothing.
Okay.
And I talked to the bank, they said if there was any deposit, it would already be showing. So he would say, just wait, it's going to come in two days. 2 days, it never came. So now it reached the day now I'm going to the hospital. And I had no money on me, nothing, zero. Even money for cab, I didn't have. My family, I wasn't telling them everything because I didn't want them to worry anymore.
And
And they had already warned me against all this. They had seen the signs, but I was still adamant, and I felt that, you know, like the Bible says that a wise woman keeps her home, builds her home. So now I called now that friend of mine, the Ghanaian, who had already actually warned me against this guy. Now I called him and told him this is what happened, and this is what I'm going through. I'm going to the hospital, I don't have money. He didn't have much. He sent me 20,000. So I managed to pay a deposit and get a cab. I went to the hospital and I was admitted. I had a cesarean, and I stayed in hospital and was discharged when this guy is just calling, how is my baby? How is he doing? And are you okay? He's not sending money. Until now, I was discharged like today, and he sent the money the following day. I had to stay in the hospital an extra day with my wound. No one is now nobody is attending to you because you have already been discharged. So he sent some little money. It wasn't even enough.
How much was it?
It sent me 30,000. I went to a cheap hospital where now I knew I can, I can borrow here and there and pay. Now I went back home. Now when I was going back home, I told the footballers, you guys have to move out now. You're on your own now. I cannot stay with you anymore. I have a baby. My son needs to move to his bedroom. So we did all that. Now I went to the house. I have no one to take care of me with my operation. I had completely no one, my son only. So now this guy, we had agreed that he comes back in 3 months, but he never came. So when he didn't come, I told him, why don't we join? We started talking, and he's saying that he has a house there, he has built a home there in Ghana, which would even be better if we joined him. So I was quick to accept. I talked to my parents and told them that this is what we are planning, and I want to go to Ghana and live with him. So in August, when schools were closing, I pulled my kid from school. We arranged that we go by August, I mean during that holiday, so that he can even go and join school there. He told me that he's already looked for a school for my son. Yeah. So Now I sold everything I had. I gave out everything else I had. I even called a lady who owns a children's home to come and carry clothes and blankets and so many things.
Because you're moving to
Because
Ghana.
I'm moving now.
Yeah.
And the little that I got from selling these house items, I went and applied for the passports.
Yes.
So I got my kids' passports. And him, he was to arrange for tickets. I could understand that he was struggling. So we agreed that he sends tickets. And all along, remember, I'm talking to his mother and his sisters. And they would encourage me. They would tell me that it's going to be fine. And they are waiting for me. They will hold a big party for me and all that.
Yeah.
Now, when I was to go on a Friday, my parents came on a Wednesday to pray for me, to just give me some farewell, kind of. So they came, my cousins came, my family, my friends came to see me off.
Yes.
A farewell party.
Yeah.
My aunties came, we prayed, and we had fun, and they gave me gifts and they left. Now I'm supposed to go on a Friday, remember? So Friday, by Thursday at least he should have sent the tickets.
Yes.
So Thursday comes nothing.
Hakuna.
Friday hakuna. The following week hakuna. The following month hakuna.
And you've sold everything in the house.
Yes, and we are speaking every day.
And you are living like now in an empty space.
Yes.
You are ready to go.
No, I had moved from that when I was selling my things.
Yes.
I moved in with my sister.
Okay,
So
get
I sold
it
my
now.
things.
Yes.
There was no point of continuing to pay rent.
Good.
So I moved in with my sister so that I can just prepare for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That was the plan.
Okay.
For in 2 weeks we are moving. So yeah. There was no point of paying rent.
Yes.
We waited and waited. They never came. My son wasn't. Schools were opened. He wasn't going to school. My
And
parents
when you are
are
calling him, what is he saying?
We were talking every day, like twice.
What is he saying? Where
Oh,
are the
baby,
tickets?
I'm sorry. I've already made the booking. Just hold on. I've paid a little bit. I'm struggling, but I'll get the money. Don't worry. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Yes.
Every day, don't worry. Every day, he's encouraging me. Every day, he's telling me he still loves us. I'm sending him photos of the babies. So I realized now, when it came to around October, all the other children are in school. So I had to lock my son in the house so that people don't see him loitering around or even in the flats. And I just had to keep him in the house. I bought books and started homeschooling for him. This homeschooling of COVID, I've done it before.
So you know it's not easy.
Yeah. So I did homeschooling the whole of third term. And I told him now, because it seems that you're struggling even there. So if we come, you will even struggle more. So I'd rather you come. You arrange to come whenever, however long it takes. Just plan to come.
And what is it about this guy? I mean, I understand love. I mean, this guy first never sent the money for delivery.
Yeah.
This guy is not sending the tickets, and you're still encouraging him to come from Ghana to Kenya.
Yeah.
Yet you are still in love with him.
So at the end of, I think 2015, a lady calls me from Ghana and tells me that this guy has been lying to me.
A lady called you from Ghana.
Yeah. You know, she asked me, Mrs. So-and-so, am I talking to Mrs. So-and-so? I said, yeah. You know, I'm like, hey, someone knows me from Ghana and she knows I'm married to this guy.
Yes.
So, and she said, this guy has been lying to you. I know you're not aware. And aware of what? That he's been lying to you that he's single but he's married. I said, what do you mean he's married? How long has he been married? For 10 years. What? For me, I was expecting it to be like maybe 6 months or 3 months or something like that. But he was married even when he was living with me. And I told her, and who are you? Why are you saying, who are you? How do you know this? She said, I'm the wife. I told her, where have you been all this while? Why didn't you raise an alarm? I mean, this guy has posted my photos and my kids' photos and calling them my sons. And where have you been?
Yeah.
Are you not on social media to even
Yeah.
see what is happening?
Yeah.
She said she's seen all that, and the guy lied to her that I was a daughter to his landlord where he was staying in Kenya.
How do you
And-
post pictures of the daughter to the landlord on your Facebook page?
And I lured to sleep with him for one day, and I got pregnant. And my son now, he's my brother, my younger brother. So she was like, okay, fine. And she told me that they don't have children. So she was okay. And he was even lying to her that I told him to come for his son. So she was okay that she will have a child. She will take care of this child. So I told her, send me evidence that you're his wife. And she sent me photos from an album, a wedding album.
I know it's not funny.
Yeah.
I know it's not funny, but someone calls you
Yeah.
and says, the guy who you think
Yeah.
is your husband is also my husband,
Yeah.
and he has been my husband for 10 years.
Yes.
And you ask for evidence,
Yeah.
and the evidence comes
Yeah.
higher.
So I sent him the photos, and the first thing he said was, block that number. This is fake. This is Photoshop. And I was like, how is it a Photoshop? And I can see it's a photo that has been taken from another photo, a hard photo. So he accepted. When he realized that there's no more lie, he accepted and told me, yeah, it's true. It's been a bad marriage, and it's been wanting to get out, and he doesn't even live with the lady. When I asked the lady, she said, I picked him from the airport. He stays with me. We are staying together. He's like that. He uses women for money. Even when he's been married to her, he's been using women for money. And for me, now it was like, what? I've been played all this while. But this guy, because he doesn't have another kid, he would call every other day. He would still call. He wants to see his child. And he's not even contributing. He would contribute like 5,000, 10,000 a month. Or once in 6 months, he would send 10,000, or 5,000, 6,000, just like that. And he calls that assistance, responsibility. And I realized that I have to stop all this nonsense. And now, that was 2015. So at the end of 2015, when I realized all that was nonsense, and I had dropped everything, I talked to a friend of mine who gave me some work in the construction field, some interior design, and I got some little money and moved from my sister's place.
So now your mind is back to factory settings.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I had lived with my sister for 6 months, 6 good months. One day I met a friend in town who was in the construction field. We had met before. He was a client. And I told him that I'm looking for work. I remember I told him, hata kama ni kuweka curtains, hata kama ni kupaka rangi, tafadhali, just
Nipe
something.
kazi.
Just give me something
Yeah.
to do. This is what I'm going through. Hata kama ni kumwaga mchanga, help me. And he told me he'd rather help me first work on myself. There's something else he started doing, and he thinks it can help me. So he invited me for an event. It was a free event. I went and I saw what he was doing, and he was training people on personal development, introducing you to yourself. Learning, coming in touch with yourself, learning who you are, learning about how to control your emotions, how to work on yourself.
Yeah.
So I told him I would love to join this class because I feel that I need counseling, but I think the class can help me even much better. And he told me to join, and I told him I couldn't join because I don't have money. And straightforward, he just gave me a scholarship. Told me, don't worry about that, about the money. So, and I thank God for him. And I did the class. I discovered my purpose, and sometimes we go through pain, and God allows us to go through pain for a purpose. Even Jesus went through pain for purpose.
Yes.
And the purpose is always bigger than ourselves. And I realized that I'm here for me to even help other people fix themselves, fix their lives.
Yes.
Because everything we do is in our happiness and our success is in our hands. And if you look at your hands, you have an M. There's an M. Everyone has an M.
Yes, yes.
And that M says that your miracles are in your hands.
Amina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now I realize that I can also take people through the same journey that I went through. I've simplified, and I opened a company that it's called Angelique Achievers.
Angelique Achievers.
Yeah, Angelique with QUE. Angelique Achievers. I help people discover themselves, discover the source of their pain, discover why they have had relationships that are similar. You know, many times there's a very common saying that people always say that all men are dogs or all women are I don't know.
Iyo.
Yeah, yo. So the reason why people say that is because there's a pattern. And that pattern depends on how you grew up, the things you've put in yourself, I mean the things that have been put in you when you were growing up, the things you've adapted when you've grown.
And the things you've grown seeing.
Yeah, and what you tell your mind.
And let me ask her, you said something important about starting, you know, a company or an initiative that will help people look themselves in the mirror.
Yeah.
And I think I love your story because, you know, kuna watu wanaweza kupea advice na wajapitia.
Yeah.
You know, people will start advising you, but they've not been there.
Yeah.
But for me, when I hear you've gone through that, you own up, you know, you are like, Lina used to be this person.
Yeah.
It's easier for someone like me to listen to you and learn from you. And I also meant to ask you, how important was it for you to forgive yourself?
Forgiveness is something that you give to yourself. It's a gift that you give to yourself.
What did you forgive yourself for?
The first person you should forgive is you. Before you can even go out and forgive somebody else. Because we all have something to contribute to everything that happens to us. People can only treat us the way we allow them to. So what I forgave myself for is allowing this person to use me. Because I feel that he used me. And he used me in this sense that I had a son who I did not protect. I had things that I did not protect that were mine. I had a life that I did not protect. I had my values that I did not protect. But I allowed this person to come into my life, someone who doesn't even know who he is. And many times that is where we go wrong when we are looking for a spouse. We go looking for a soulmate when you don't even know our souls. You don't even know.
Rudia. Mimi nataka watu wangu wasikie. We go looking what?
You go looking for a soulmate while you have not even found your own soul. So the first person you should find is yourself before you can go out and get someone.
Yes.
So I forgave myself all that. Yes, I didn't know. I didn't know that is how it's supposed to go. But now that I know, and for me to come to terms with the fact that I had a lot to do with it. Because yes, I was brought up with values.
Yes.
Why didn't I apply them? Just because I wanted the easy way. So I forgave myself.
Yes.
So that I can even understand him from the point that he also has a background. He has a background that has made him the person he is. And I forgave him because I know it's not, if he knew better, he would have been better.
Yes.
Yeah. If he knew better, if he knew that the value of knowing yourself, and value of knowing who God is and who God says you are, would even make him a better person. Let me even shock you further. After forgiving him, I can even now talk to him and encourage him. I can talk to him now and tell him that you can build yourself. You can change. Because I want my son to one day visit him. Also, I bring up my children with truth.
Yes.
And truth is that they are children of single mothers and a single mother.
Yeah.
And this is what happened.
And you know, earlier on when we were talking, you told me, Lynn, I'm also still healing. you know, I know God has restored so much in your life.
Yeah.
You know, now you have a place to call work, you have a place to call home, your kids are doing okay.
Yeah.
But what is it about you being able to look yourself in the mirror and calling yourself on your own mistakes as well?
You see, for me, I walked from a journey of, I would shop at Woolworths, and for you too. I don't know if it still exists because my place of shopping changed.
Yes. Me now go back to India Woolworths.
And
You are shopping at Woolworths.
And I realized that, you know, those hawkers that walk around the estates carrying clothes on the shoulders, they still carry nice clothes. And imagine those clothes go for 100 or 200 shillings, and they're still okay.
Yes.
And I wear them and I look like I'm coming from Woolworths.
Yeah.
So I walked through all that journey from grace to grass. But grass doesn't mean that it's bad.
Water it.
Yeah, water your grass. Water your grass, and that is what I'm doing now. Grass is also good. It's green. Make it green. Make it even like a carpet. You can sleep on it. You can feel comfortable on it. So when we say that from grace to grass, it doesn't mean that stay there and suffer. So for me, I would say that we are now in a good place where we are gracious. My children love each other, and we have fun together. And we don't have as much as we had before. We are not even halfway. We are not even quarter way. We are still rising, and they have come to accept this is where we are. We cannot go to maybe holidays. I would pay for flights. We go to Mombasa, me and my son, just the two of us. But now I can't. Sometimes I can't even afford a bus. But I'm working on myself, and I've accepted where I am. And I've even learned to smile, and you know, smiling even heals your pain. So people need to learn that even when you're going through issues, like today we are going through coronavirus, so many have dropped what they are doing. So many people are suffering. So many people will come out emotional wrecks. But there are people who are thriving right now because of coronavirus. There are people who are thriving and seeing opportunities. There are people who are looking at it like a chance to work on themselves. Everyone should ask themselves, what am I doing with my pain?
What am I doing with my pain?
Because pain should be a blessing.
Yes.
Jesus Christ died on the cross to bless us. What are you doing with your pain to bless somebody else out there? So for me, everything happens for good. Nothing happens to you. Everything happens for you.
Everything happens for you. I love that. Where can people find you?
I'm on Instagram, on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn as Angela Nzilani. I used to be Angela Katua, but when I discovered who I am, I felt that I've been hiding behind people for so long. And my father was one of them, Katua. So now I want to be me, and I want to be authentic. I want to build myself as me, and it feels more authentic, it feels more at home. So I am Angela Nzilani all over the social media. And my email address is still angelakatua @gmail.com or angeliqueachievers @gmail.com.
@gmail.com. Because I know a lot of our audience will reach out to you. Watu wanataka kufungua moyo huku nje, you know?
I know.
And I'll tell you what I love about your story is the fact that you are not a victim. You are not even considering yourself a victim. And you let go and you forgive and you are starting afresh. And it's amazing to have you today on the show. Your final words to our audience?
There's always hope. There's always light at the end of the tunnel. But the light can only be lit when you accept your journey, when you speak about your story with a lot of positivity, and know that so long as you're here, in fact, if God didn't want you to survive and to do well, you wouldn't be here. We were all created to thrive. So the reason why you're here is because God still wants you to thrive. No matter what pain you're feeling, you can still work on yourself and be a success. Most of the success stories we have been built on pain.
Yes.
So your pain is your blessing.
Your pain is your blessing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Angela, for
Thank you.
making time. I know these circumstances,
Yeah.
people are going through a lot,
Yeah.
but you still found time, and you still found time to come and talk to
Yeah.
our audience. And guys at Tuko, I want to leave you with this quote. The late Maya Angelou said, when you know better, you do better. And Angela's story today is a true testimony that you should not let your past define you. Thank you so much for tuning in. And as always, go look for Angela if you would like to speak to her and open your heart. Yani fungueni moyo, ni moyo ama ni nyoyo, na muongee na yeye.